Hello, everybody, and welcome to my very first podcast Christmas special. Yes, sir, yes. I'm doing my very first Christmas episode. As you know, my Santa hat lights up. So I'll be talking about a classic Christmas film, which I wish the film took place in Christmas time. In this episode, I will be talking about the 1984 film Gremlins. That's right. We're talking about that film, which it took place in Christmas. One of my favorite childhood films that I remember watching as a kid growing up. And we have some guests here for tonight. Please welcome back Jedi Grand. How you doing, Walter?
Hey there, what's up,
And
everyone?
and my partner, who is like Kaiju Bro, is Nathan from Moss Island Film Vault.
Yo,
Yeah, kaiju bro. Yeah.
and
bro.
and I
Bruh.
I also invited Nick Adams, the Monster Reporter, and Elijah for this episode. I did invite them, and hopefully they'll appear sooner or later or any moment. But that's
Yeah.
okay. But
What a tonal shift. I just want to say on this, Lizard Pro, because you had me on last month for planes, trains, and automobiles. Now we're talking about Gremlins. Quite possibly the most deranged Christmas monster movie ever.
yeah, I know that some fans or people said it's not a horror or Christmas film. I mean, the film took place in Christmas.
How is this not a Christmas movie?
Right. It's very
Seriously,
filled with
how
Christmas.
is this not a Christmas movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I picked this film is because it took place in Christmas, and I thought that this was my favorite film from my childhood. I can't wait to tell you guys how I first discovered this film. And
this was your favorite film as a child. That explains so much.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to tell you how I first discovered this film. I mean, just like I did in my previous episodes that I did. I mean, how I first discovered this film. I mean, well, actually, before I discovered the film, I mean, there was a store that used to exist back then called the Warner Brothers store, which Gremlins were made. And I remember as a kid, I remember walking to that store. I think it was right next to the Disney store, I think. I don't know, but I don't
Really?
remember. But yeah, don't you guys remember the Warner Brothers store?
Well,
Nope.
I live in the South. I live in the South.
I know about the Disney.
Yeah, I don't. We didn't have those kind of luxuries as you might have. So I mean, I probably missed that, but I think I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember the Disney store. I don't remember this one.
that the Warner Brothers store used to exist back then before it was out of business. I mean, and I don't know if you guys remember in the 1998 Godzilla film, the American one, the news anchor that said that the Disney store and Warner Brothers stores were closed. I mean, something like that. And
I might have overlooked that. I mean, I probably have to rewatch it, even though I can't stand that film. But I mean, I probably have to rewatch just to get that little nugget there of information.
And well, Jack Hall says that he remembers that store, and
Okay, so he does remember that story.
yeah, so there was a Warner Brothers store. It's kind of like Disney store. I mean, it has all kinds of stuff, including that little rocket play set that's like big. I remember as a kid, I go in that little tiny rocket ship that has all kinds of buttons, and you could just play around. The little kids go in there. That is right below like where a big TV screen was, and it has sell all kinds of Warner Bros. Stuff like Scooby Doo stuffs and other kinds, and I remember that each area of the stores or some areas in the store, they have little normal sized gremlin statues. And I was like, what are those things? And my mom remembers that she says those are gremlins. And those are like creepy looking creatures. I never seen that. That's how I first discovered the gremlins in the Warner Brothers store. Well, they're statues. I think those are the gremlins from Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Because I was going to ask
Okay.
you, was it from the I was going to say, was it from the new batch or from the original? Is what the
It's probably from the new batch, and I remember that when my mom had turned the TV on one day, and then when I was a kid, I saw it was Gremlins, and I did watch it. I did watch it, and I kind of like it. I mean, and I remember I liked the character Gizmo so much because Gizmo is so cute, and I did had like a little animatronic toy, but sadly it's packed away, and
you can
yeah,
always unpack it if you want to, but that's here no say. We'll leave that alone. Maybe say where he is, you know.
and I remember I had the VHS tape that I had. That is the special edition version. Yeah, the one that has Gizmo and the shadow of Stripe.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they used the same cover for the DVDs and the Blu-rays. Yeah, I remember having that the VHS. I remember taking it home, and I did watch it, and I like it. And I remember right in the middle after the Gremlins hatch. I mean, I was so terrified and scared, especially the one scene when the mom was like in the hall. Is like they saw that's the shadow of the Gremlin walked away. She was walking down that hall, and then with the creepy Jerry Goldsmith theme music.
Right. You know, it's funny. I was gonna just say this. It's funny you say that because that's one thing I like about this film is that kind of give you a hint till they reveal the Gremlins itself. Because remember, this was executive produced by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
and when he did Jaws, you didn't see the shark as much, but when you did see it, you had a hint of it's there, and the Gremlins seeing that shadow of them, their presence. It's like, oh wow, it's like, what are they going to look like, and what are they going to do, and I know that part right there was really very creepy there, okay. What happened to him?
Oh, Nathan's gone. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say, what happened?
Hey,
I'll be big back. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
but continuing what you were saying, you was talking about that though.
Oh, here it is.
There we go.
Okay. Hey, I saw your private chat say you guys keep bugging out of me. I'm going.
Yeah. Look, there was the internet. It was getting hard to actually follow what you guys were saying because you were skipping around a lot. So, but jumping out and jumping back in seems to have fixed that. Anyway, you were saying.
Anyway, because I remember I was going to tell you the scene where the mom was looking for the Gremlins after she turned off the radio, and then when she goes down the hall, and when she turns, there's the shadow of a gremlin, and then walks in the. She continue,
which actually reminded me of Nosferatu.
Yeah, when she walked down the hallway with the Jerry Goldsmith theme, and I was terrified of that scene. I mean, it kind of because I remember watching that film for the first time at my very old house I was born in before I moved out of there. I remember when I think of that scene, first of all, the house I was born in, it has like a two-way stairway, like a 2 feet stairway that doesn't go higher. I mean, there was that two-way stairway. It has this long hall where my bedroom and my sister's bedroom was, and straight ahead was my parents' room. And every time I walk down that hallway, it always makes me think of that scene from Gremlins. Especially when the hallway is dark.
it's almost like that's kind of giving a foreboding. It just like I say, every time you think of your hallways, you think of the Gremlins scene. It's like I don't know if I want to walk down there right now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was a kid. I was kind of a little scared of the scene of the kitchen scene and the house, but yeah, I know. First of all, I thought the Gremlins were kind of scary, but when they got to the bar scene or when he terrorized the village, I realized the Gremlins are actually kind of funny. I kind of enjoyed this film more. I was not scared of the scene of the almost the village terror scene and the bar scene and the movie theater scene.
Yeah. I think that's where you realize that this film, it has a dark foreboding moments, scary wise, but once they get into, like I say, once they start terrorizing the town, getting especially the bar sequence, that's when that camp goes up a little bit, and you're like, okay, you can kind of relax knowing that they are terrifying, but they're kind of, as you say, they're kind of funny. It's like, okay, kind of ease back from that.
Yeah, if the bar scene is just 5 minutes of pure derangement.
Yeah, and I heard when they filmed that shot when they filmed the bar scene, I think it took them like 2 months or 2 weeks to do the bar scene
because of all the animatronic, all the puppetry.
I was gonna say the puppetry work in this is just, I forgot how good it was.
I was saying,
yeah,
very good.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned Jerry Goldsmith. I forgot how much talent worked on this movie when I actually started watching.
Especially the Gremlin theme song, like da, 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 da,
yeah. Oh, that's very Jerry Goldsmith here. But this was directed by Joe Dante, who's done a lot of interesting movies. He's a big fan of classic sci-fi and horror. Right. He's done a lot of different movies. Some of them are more like this and more like horror movies. Some of them are just imaginative little like sci-fi adventure movies. Like he directed a movie that's actually, I think, his first movie, and it was called Explorers, which I've actually seen. It's about
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's about a handful of boys. I think, well, it was not just boys. It's some little kids whose house gets turned into a spaceship, or they find a spaceship or something. I can't remember. It's been a hot.
Well, that wasn't his first film. It's actually like he was like 3 or 4 films in before he did this one.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, Explorers was his first
and Joe Dante, he also directed Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Yes. He's done. He has a particular style, and he's a Godzilla fan.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, give this man a Godzilla movie.
Yes, I mean, believe it or not, he's going to be in that documentary that's talking about Shiro Honda next year, which I want to see.
Yeah, that. And this was written by Chris Columbus.
Yes,
who was also the director and writer of such movies like Home Alone.
Yep,
and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like Chris Columbus has done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and let me stop you right there. I mean, when I heard Chris Columbus, he wrote in this, I mean, before he did, I remember what he said, like that what he came up with Gremlins. One time he was sleeping in bed. He had some mice rolling in his bedroom. It was. I think I remember that I think he has his hand on the floor. I mean, of his bed. He has some mice like a nibble on his fingers. I mean, I think that's how he come up with the story about Gremlins, because of rats, or am I getting mixed up? I mean, I think might be mistaken, but I think I remember what my stepdad told me that the Chris Columbus got the idea because he heard Chris Columbus heard some mice rubbing in the attic. It's like some wrinkles, some feet noises above the ceiling in the attic. I mean, I think that's how he come up with Gremlins. Yeah, but I'm not sure which one are true. I mean,
it could be a multitude of reasons. I mean, where it came up, but here's an interesting fact that the word mogwai, I actually looked this up for kicks, and I found out it's a Cantonese saying word, and believe it or not, it means devil. So it's kind
It
of
can.
fitting.
I
Yeah.
mean, like monster, evil
Mhm.
spirit, devil. It depends on how you translate it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
Oh,
makes sense that
yeah.
it would be that to translate, not the gizmo, but the
Mogwai.
offspring. Yes.
Yeah, Mogwai. Well, and just like the name Gremlin, they talk about it a little bit in this. That was something went back to the early 20th century. It's supposed to be these little creatures that would sabotage technology, and it became very popular during World War II because
Yes.
anytime you had there are pilots that would have a malfunctioning airplane. It's like, oh, it's the Gremlins.
I'm assuming that you've seen that one Bugs Bunny cartoon
Yeah.
where that gremlin tries to
Yeah,
mess up
that one
plane.
Bugs Bunny one.
Well, there's actually a Twilight Zone an iconic Twilight Zone
Shut
episode that
back.
has a gremlin. It's the one
Yeah.
with
Yes.
William Shatner. It's called Terror
Right.
at 20,000 feet, and
Yep.
he's sitting at a window seat, and he looks out on the wing, and he sees it trying to rip up the engine.
Right.
And and he tries to tell people, it's like, there's something on the wing, and nobody believes him. And then it goes from there. And then that actually got adapted in the Twilight Zone movie with John Lithgow.
Yep, that's right. And I just realized I never asked you guys how you just first discovered this film.
Well, I'll let Nathan go first on this one.
Yeah.
Well, it's not nearly as meaningful or as exciting as Lizard Pro, but I remember seeing it on the shelf at a video store and didn't think much of it. I wasn't sure what to think of it. The cover art makes it look much scarier than they actually are. And although I think what I remember seeing most vividly was actually the cover for Gremlins 2.
Wow. And
yeah. And then I learned kind of, through pop culture, just how big and noteworthy the Gremlins were. So eventually I just decided, okay, I need to actually sit down and watch this movie. I feel like I kind of missed out on it when I was a kid. So I'm going to watch it now. And, and I'm like, okay, I see where the appeal comes from. And I think I watched it with my brothers, and then we did immediately, I think, dovetail not too long after that into watching the second one. And we're like, yeah, the second one's weird.
yeah, I'm thinking about doing a podcast episode of the sequel someday.
It is a weird one. It's
weird. Yeah.
Basically, this one was such a huge hit, which is astonishing because I was just looking up on Wikipedia and I can't believe I didn't realize this. This opened the same weekend as Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Wow.
And it didn't get buried somehow. But anyway, and Joe Dante, was happy with how the movie came out, even though Spielberg told him to change some things that would have really made this a much different movie, a much darker movie. But there was also some things that the studio told him to get rid of, and Spielberg told him to get rid of, and he said, nope, not doing it, which I'm sure we'll get into. But for the second one, the studio wanted him to make a sequel for a while. I've heard him talk about this. And finally, he just was like, we're only going to make a sequel if you just let us do whatever we want. And they said, sure. And then you got that weirdness that is Gremlins 2.
Well, thanks for sharing how you discovered this, Nathan. I mean, so Walter, now I ask you how you first discovered this film from your childhood.
Well, this is gonna kind of carbon date me pretty well. This film came out in '84, and it's funny that Nate mentioned Ghostbusters because I saw the trailer for that film right before Ghostbusters started, and I got enthralled with it, But it wouldn't be for another 3 years until I saw it on TV, and watched it then, But I knew it was really popular back then, I wanted to watch it back then when it was out in theaters, though, but I didn't get a chance to until it came on television. But
do I want to ask how old you were?
How old I was then or now?
Yeah, no, then.
Then I was 14.
Wow.
I
It was
can do math.
it was before I was born.
Yes, that's why I say it's. That's why I say I'm kind of up there, But no, the thing about it is though, this is pure '80s, you know, event. I mean, this film is makes what Gremlins, like Ghostbusters, like any other film that came out, especially like in '84. It kind of solidified '80s for life. I mean, and like I say, anything you see coming out of the '80s, you automatically know where it's coming. When you say Gremlins, oh, that's '80s something, film, and that's pretty much it. But when I did see it, I realized this film is really kind of dark. And here's a side note to you. This is the thing that most people don't know this. This picture, because of its dark nature and its, whatever, I won't say violent, I'll just say dark nature. It and the Temple of Doom were the catalyst for giving us the PG-13 rating. Okay?
It was.
Yeah, I mean, Temple Doom and Gremlins were given PG rated. I mean, they were almost pushing R rated.
Yes.
Well, that's why they it wasn't enough to get an R rating. That's why they said that they needed to have a rate. Spielberg actually said we need to have a rating between PG and R. And that's where we got the PG-13. By the way, I stand corrected. Explorers was the movie that Joe Dante made after this. That was the next one after this. He had several movies before this, including working on that Twilight Zone, Twilight Zone movie, uncredited. But he also, before this, he worked on stuff like Piranha and The Howling.
Yes, The Howling. Yes, very good. Well worked.
I never seen those films.
Oh, he directed Small Soldiers?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he directed that. And of course, he directed Inner Space. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I've seen Inner Space.
Inner Space, all right.
Yeah, and I realized that this film I know this film was released on June 8th. That was like a few months before The Return of Godzilla was released in Japan.
Yeah, about 6 months, I think.
Yeah. Yep, and well, I don't know if you noticed, guys, but during the opening credits, they showed a small village town. I mean, showed the title cards. Did you know they used that was actually filmed at Universal Studios, and that was the same set that they used for Back to the Future.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
And they added some fake snow on there, and I mean, it's funny you should know. When Zach Galligan, who plays Billy in this, when they were filming him walking in the snow with Barney the dog and some other scenes that when they filmed him, I think before or during filming, he would, first of all, they filmed this village in California, and they put fake snow, and then it was so. And California was so hot out there. It's like almost like 100 degrees. But when Zach Galligan puts on the jacket and some winter clothes on in the film, he was actually so hot and sweaty in this jacket.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact, I kind of met him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He was at a convention that I attended, and much to my disappointment, his line was incredible. There was just almost nobody there, but there was almost nobody there to see the actual celebrities. Everyone was there seeing the YouTubers.
Wow. Okay.
So I didn't get his autograph or anything, but I did see him while I was there talking with some other celebrities I was there to meet. So, he was within arm's reach of me.
Wow.
He didn't look a whole lot older.
No,
time has been kind to him.
I was going to say, he's one of those few people who's, they're kind of immortal. It's like they almost look the same 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Wait, but it really disappointed me. I was like, you would rather go see the YouTubers who are just playing Call of Duty live. You would rather see them and not talk to a guy who made one of the most iconic movies of the 80s. Who was in one of the most iconic movies of these? It worked with Joe Dante and Steven Spielberg and all these other incredibly talented people who are in this movie. What is wrong with you, Zoomers? Well, I don't know if they were
Well.
Zoomers at the time, but I was just disappointed.
Well,
And Key Luke, he got to work with Key Luke and Dick
Yeah.
Miller.
yeah, that's
Like
man.
there's so much talent in this movie. I forgot how much talent there was in this movie. Corey
That's the-
Feldman is in
Yeah.
it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's why I
Yeah,
say
and
it's like,
that's just the people in front of the camera. When you look behind the camera, it gets really crazy
Mhm.
because Howie Mandel is the voice of Gizmo,
yes.
Yeah.
and then you had Robbie the Robot, which was that was
Oh, and
that's some of
don't
Joe
forget.
Dante's old school sci-fi fanboy.
Hey, don't
fanboy coming
forget
out.
Peter. The
Frank
voice of Optimus
Welker?
Prime. Yes.
Frank
He's in-
Welker, Megatron himself is Stripe in this.
Yeah,
And to make it even better,
Uh,
Peter Cullen,
Yes.
Optimus Prime,
Prime.
is in this.
I was like,
Oh,
wow.
and according to Wikipedia here, Jim Cummings was in this uncredited.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Okay.
Wait, Jim
Yeah.
Cummins was one of the voice of the Gremlins?
Yes.
I did not know that. I mean, that cartoon voice actor and I gotta say, Frank Walker he's always the original Stripe, and he also did the voice of Mohawk in the sequel.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing is, Frank Welker was the voice of our childhoods.
True.
Yeah.
He like you look up his IMDb, it goes on for days.
I know it's a long.
Yeah.
list.
He has a long list, and like every show that you probably watched growing up, he was probably in it.
Mhm.
And
You know,
Frank,
he just, but there's just certain characters that he is iconic for. You know, the top of the list being Megatron from Transformers.
and I will always remember him as Fred Jones and Scooby.
Oh, Fred Jones, that's another one that's really high too.
Yeah, and he also did the voice of Scooby-Doo in the future films and shows.
Did he? Okay,
Mhm.
you know that.
Yeah, like Frank Welker can do anything. It does.
And he also does some animal sound effects too.
Yes, like I said,
Yeah.
he can do anything. It's crazy.
No,
But yeah,
I
there's
think-
so much talent in this movie, which is funny because it started a bit of a trend where people tried making knockoffs of Gremlins. The most noteworthy one is and what's hilarious is that there were only ever 2 Gremlins movies, but the most noteworthy knockoff was
Critters.
called Critters, and they had like 5 movies. Kind of sick.
Wow.
Oh my god!
And if you thought the Gremlins were deranged, the Critters might actually be more deranged.
I wonder because I'm wondering because they're from outer space. Maybe that's why they're so vicious, because they're bloodthirsty.
Yeah, they actually eat people. Whereas in the final film, we don't see the Gremlins eat people. Now, in the original draft of the script, from what I was reading, Joe Dante was actually going to have them eat the mom and the dog.
Yeah, that's what it says in the earliest script.
And Spielberg said no.
It's much too violent.
That's too much.
Instead, they just tangled the dog, and then
they just tangled the dog. And Mom, good grief, Mom takes out like 4 of them.
Yeah, I want to say that
apparently in the original script she would have gotten murdered by them in that scene, but in this one she's like taking them all out.
Yeah,
I'm like, geez, Mom, you're gonna end the movie. I forgot how crazy that guy actually got. I was like, you're gonna end the movie halfway through because she kills like 4 of them in the most horrendous ways possible.
Yeah,
that's the scene that made the.
And I gotta say that this is one mom you do not want to mess with.
Oh, you don't. Like, she's like threw one in a blender, one was in a microwave. She's
microwave.
Oh yeah, the microwave.
The other one.
Let me stop you right there. I love the microwave effects. I mean, that it's almost like I don't know. I couldn't tell if it's like when the Gremlins in the microwave when the mom started it. I mean, it's I don't know if it's like his head exploded or he just froze up his guts.
No, he exploded.
I think he exploded. And I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you two noticed this little thing. Now, the one that she literally does a psycho on, when she puts the one in the microwave, if you notice from behind, I didn't notice this before until I rewatched it. That one gremlin is still kind of moving around, but it's dying. It's like I didn't notice that before.
Yeah. It's just mom. This mom is crazy.
Look, she seems quiet, but it's like, no, you're not coming into my territory. Because you said when she tells that one, she does it, this knife to, she's like, get out of my kitchen. It's like, all right,
Yeah. What was it? Was it just a blender, or was it something else that she put?
I think it was the blender that stabbing the
microwave,
and that one that attacked her was she was in the Christmas tree. Billy got that one. He
he hit it with a bat.
Oh, actually, it was a sword.
Sword. Oh, yeah, because he cut its head off.
I'm just
I love it. Let me tell you guys this. I mean, the one scene when the gremlin was throwing a plate at the mother, if you look carefully, you could almost see like a little wire stick thing that attached to the arm he was throwing, and then when you look carefully, the plate wasn't actually on the gremlin's hand. It was almost like a little frisbee tossing machine with plates.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you look carefully.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was changed from the first draft was Gizmo was going to get turned into Stripe.
Yeah, that's what it says in the.
I didn't know that. See?
Yeah, because when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, what happened? I was like, how twisted would it be if they actually had Gizmo get turned? I mean, that would be dramatic for sure.
Yeah.
And they don't go there, but apparently in the original draft they were going to do that. Like Gizmo was going to start saying, "Hi, I'm cute, and highly marketable, and the toy companies will love me." And then he gets fed after midnight, and he turns into Stripe, and then Billy has to take him out.
Yeah,
but Steven Spielberg said, "No, he's too cute. You can't do that."
Yeah, and that's kind of too much. So they want to make Gizmo a good guy and make Billy his sidekick.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's the sidekick, but
depends on your point of view on that and your interpretation.
Well, but like I said, I understand. I get the drama of that. It makes sense, because I could see that being a problem. So like you get to the end and Billy's going after Stripe, and he's like, Gizmo. He calls him Gizmo instead of Stripe. He's like, Gizmo, please, I don't want to do this. That's
Gizmo, caca.
Wow,
that's a little too good there.
Oh, that's right on point.
Yeah.
This is podcast.
Oh, jeez.
I can only imagine if Andy Serkis had done the voice of somebody.
Oh, jeez, Andy, Andy Serkis. I have to believe Andy Serkis might have had Gremlins in mind when he was voicing.
Right?
I remember when I was a kid, I've always loved doing Gremlin voice impressions.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to do it too much because it makes my throat feel.
Ooh, well, yeah. I mean, you gotta be right. but it is funny because I kind of do that same thing, sometimes. And I was like, can't really do it now.
I hope.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, like I say, if Andy Serkis had taken inspiration from the Gremlins, knowing that he's the one who said precious, it's like, yeah, I know that's exactly.
Yeah, that's called.
Precious.
Yes,
oh wait! I want to do a good one. Say,
my precious.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know that the idea has been floated around about doing a Gremlins remake, and even though I'm kind of opposed to that,
heard that.
If you get Andy Serkis to do all the Gremlin voices, I think I'm going to be okay.
I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and Billy does a good job in this. I mean, I want to talk about the amazing and hottest, beautiful actress Phoebe Cates.
He stumbled a little bit there.
I was gonna say, and then look.
What? She
No, because she was. She look. Look. I can say for firsthand that she was one of my crushes growing up as a teenager. She was just astonishing. You know, she's just
yeah,
that beautiful.
she is
Oh, I'm Phoebe Cates, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my. I'm looking her up and I'm seeing what else she was in, and oh boy, she was also in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah,
Yes.
you did not see that one?
I haven't seen that one.
I just watched that months ago, and
You see
Yeah.
a lot. Is she the one where you see a lot of her?
Yes. And coincidentally, Judge Reinhold is in that film also.
yeah, who's also in Fast Time. That
Oh,
that
and
one
she's
scene.
married to Kevin Kline.
Fine. Yes.
Yeah,
And,
I got.
and they've been married since 1989. Hot dang!
Yeah, I want to say that. I gotta say the boss from the bank. He was also in Fast Time, and that one scene where he saw Phoebe K by the pool, and yeah, and I mean Phoebe K was the hottest celebrity in the '80s, but she's not in much movie as of now today. I mean, I think
she's kind of retired.
She
2001. It looks like.
Yeah, she retired, and
because that was the last movie she was in. Although, I mean, it's not like she has an extensive filmography before that, you know. But yeah, Fast Times, the Gremlins 2. She did come back in Gremlins 2. I'm trying to see what else she was in. Drop Dead Fred.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you know.
And then something called Princess Caribou.
Princess Caribou. I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
an historical drama about a real person, actually.
Oh.
And then the last movie she was ever in was in 2001 called The Anniversary Party.
Never heard of that one either. No, I think she retired. Basically, she decided to be a mom, and be a mom. You know, I mean,
I know.
Well, and she's a business owner because it says she opened a boutique in 2005 in on New York's Madison Avenue. It's called Blue Tree.
Wow. And I remember that some people said said in their minds. I mean, they asked like, whatever happened to Phoebe K?
Well, there you go.
And now I know why. When I looked her up like a year ago, she's retired, and just like one of you said.
Wait, according to this, it says she met her then boyfriend at Studio 54 in 1979 with Andy Warhol, who was a family friend.
Oh
wow!
Man, we know how famous Andy Warhol was.
Yeah. Now it does say she did voice Kate Berenger, because that character was in Lego Dimensions in 2015. So
okay. Wait a minute. Phoebe K was in.
She voiced Kate Berenger in Lego Dimensions.
Huh.
Oh wow! The video game?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Her Gremlins character, she voiced her in a Lego video game in 2015.
Okay,
wow!
So she didn't retire. She just doesn't do film acting. The thing goes.
Yeah, and I know some people said that she compared to her 80s look and compared, like some people said that she almost looked like Selena Gomez from Kate's 80s photos shots.
Yeah,
I was
see it.
Well, compared to Selena Gomez's her teenage photo takes. And
well, I feel that
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
But I'm saying Phoebe. I'm sorry, Phoebe. Maybe because she was the first, but Phoebe Case has pretty much got Selena Gomez a little beat. You know, she's just that beauty.
Yeah, I mean, what I heard, I think, I don't know if it's true. I mean, I think her last scene of.
Well, dang. I'm trying to look up what her heritage is, and it says that what is it? Let me see. Her mother was born in Shanghai, China, and her father is American.
Wow.
Okay, so she's so she's a Eurasian then, or something.
That's what it says. She's Eurasian, but apparently, yeah, her father's American. But it also says he was Jewish, but her mother was Catholic.
Oh, oh. Wow. Okay, that's a mixture there.
Wow. And oh, what else I was gonna say?
I know. I mean, look, thinking
I-
about Phoebe Case will blow your mind. So I mean,
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, what I was saying earlier, like, her last shot for this film, whether film is the bar scene. They filmed the bar scene last, and that was, and Phoebe Kate was the only was the only actor who was in that last shot that they're filming, and all the other stars left after they finished their roles.
that makes sense.
Yeah, because that looks like that would have been logistically the most difficult.
Oh no! Just think about it. You had like how many Gremlins was on screen, and then you got to remember the puppeteers that had to like do the armatry and everything. I mean,
This is why if they remake it like they've been saying that they've wanted to, because apparently they've been wanting to do a Gremlins remake for like 10 or 15 years now.
Yeah, they got to do a remake.
I would rather they didn't, because
I wish they could do a remake.
I don't want them to. Stop remaking the good movies. Okay, go find the bad movies or the movies that had interesting ideas or whatever, but they haven't aged well or whatever, and go remake those. Okay, leave the good ones alone, because I guarantee you, they would just make all the Gremlins CGI, and a lot of the charm would be gone.
Yeah.
Well, remember they've already remade or somewhat remade Ghostbusters already. So
well,
yeah,
we don't talk about Ghostbusters.
And they also did like, I don't know if you know this, but they also did a commercial of Gremlins taking over an office room as showing the technology. I think some sort of commercial that they did a few years back, not too long ago.
Okay. Yeah, that actually makes sense. But I want it to just be puppets. I don't want this remade.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't be the same. Even if Joe Dante was involved, it's not the same. They have to be practical effects like this.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the joy of it. I mean, you want to have something tangible there to really interact and show that it's like it isn't all virtual. I mean, it's something like we got something on set right here, and it's really doing these phenomenal things right before your eyes. I mean, this is kind of what they did with the recent Alien film, Alien Romulus. Most of those effects in there were done practically. I mean, it wasn't done just with CG. They actually did puppetry, guy in a suit, all these things. This is why I say Hollywood gets kind of lost in the fact that, you can just do a CG, we'll be all right. It's like, dude, as you say, it's like you're losing that flavor, you're losing that charm about that. That's what makes it such a gratifying thing.
Yeah, and I think
like I never seen Alien.
The original or what?
All of them.
You should.
All of them.
At least watch the first two.
Yeah, and let me bring this up to you guys more about Phoebe Case's character and Kate. I mean, there is this one scene after the Gremlins rampage in the town, and when they ran into the bank, Kate just bring up this story from her Christmas past of what happened to her and about her father, why she doesn't like Christmas as much. It's because one night that her dad was coming home for Christmas, and he was her and her mom were worried about it. Her dad was missing. Then they realized one day when they set up a fire in the chimney, they smelled something, and they asked, and then some firemen came and they pulled something out. It was actually her father dressed up in a Santa Claus outfit, and what because he was gonna surprise Kate by he was being Santa Claus and coming down the chimney, but instead he broke his neck.
Got stuck and broke his neck. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that scene, Spielberg tried to get Joe Dante to take out, but he said no. He would not. He kept refusing to do it, and then finally Spielberg just said, "Okay."
yeah, and then you realize Santa is real, and
Yeah, because he wasn't sure that audiences would he thought audiences would be confused about whether or not that was supposed to be funny or not. I didn't think it was. I mean, it sounds a little bit funny, but given the context of the movie, I don't think it's meant to be funny. It's like the opposite of comic relief, where like if you have a really serious movie, you have a scene that's funny to kind of break things up, or you have a character who will be funny to kind of break things up a little bit. Whereas when you're doing a comedy, you do the opposite. You have a scene that is very dramatic and there's no jokes, and, to break up everything. I think honestly, my favorite example of that is another Christmas movie, Home Alone.
yeah, and
Because you have the scene at the church where Kevin there and he meets the scary old neighbor, and he finds out, oh, you're not scary at all. And then they have this wonderful moment together talking to each other about the problems that they're having with their families. That's what this is in this movie. It is like completely deranged for when the gremlins are on screen. It is so deranged. And then you get to this scene and it's meant to be the dramatic relief. We're going to stop being funny for a second,
Right.
and focus on the characters and and their motivations a little bit here. And then we'll go back to the deranged comedy with the
and also I realized that when Kate brings up about her dad being Santa, I mean, she also brought up the same story in Gremlins 2, but a story about Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, but see, this is the moment where you realize, like, yeah, this this is what you realize, like, yeah, it's because even Billy stops and say, but honey, we ain't got time for this, That's kind of a nod to the audience saying, we're not gonna go into that montage about that. It's like we gotta get to the real story here, which is with the Gremlins.
Yeah, I think the Santa's one thing is kind of enough. And so enough about so we are talking about Phoebe, Kate, and Billy. I mean, that is Zach Galligan. I mean, I want to talk about the father in this film, who's played by, I forgot his name, but who played Rand Pelser.
I know his first name is Hoyt, but I think his last name starts with
Hoyt Axton.
Axton, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I heard he was actually a real magician, or like an artist. Like,
don't know. No, I think it was a country singer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say a country singer.
It says he's a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actor.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I really thought.
Yeah, and he passed away in, I think it's 1991 or 95.
89.
89. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, 99. I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
Misread it.
Yeah, he passed away from a heart attack. Yes, same way that John Candy died.
Yeah, he died like I think in 95 or 96. One of the.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, he does an amazing job in this film as the dad, and he's the one who bought the Mogwai gizmo.
Yeah, well, he's equal parts snake oil salesman and like what was it? I let me check my notes as I described him as something. The way he was going about things, and he's the narrator of the whole thing. It almost feels like a film noir when he's talking, but it's supposed to be like a storybook.
Yeah,
which is weird because it's like he's not the
inventor. I wrote inventor or snake oil salesman. You decide.
he only narrates from the beginning and the end.
Yeah, but he's setting the scene. He's setting the tone very easy, very quickly. I have to say. And it's I want to know. I want to know what was going on with the little Chinese boy with his grandfather, where he's like, "Take it, take it." I think. Well, he said we need the money.
No, he needed the. That's what it was. He needed the money. But you realize in the end that just because they needed the money, there's a greater thing at stake when you took the Mogwai. You know, but
yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's his dad is really fun. All the ridiculous contraptions that he has.
Yeah,
although I have to admit, Bathroom Buddy would actually, I think, would be legitimately good.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I was scared. Like when I saw this film, I thought that like this is like I think it was I don't know if this is like the first film that has like a father character is being an inventor. I mean,
no, it's not.
I mean, they did have a few characters in future films and series, like
well, yeah,
kind of like in Rugrats, Stu Pickles is the inventor, and Maurice from Beauty and the Beast.
Right now, here's the thing that's wild though. Okay, like I wish Bathroom Buddy was real because I think that would legitimately. I think he's right. I think that would legitimately sell if you can get it to work.
I think it would,
but. I think this man may have invented a bunch of our modern technology.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stop and think about like what was the mom was trying to get what was basically a Bluetooth.
Yeah, right.
But she couldn't get it to work. And I'm like, this man invented a Bluetooth.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think I think this is the man who really invented the Bluetooth, but it's not really true. It's just
well, no, it's not. But it's just funny how this movie anticipated some things. I'm trying to look what else. I mean, he also invented the Uno attack machine. I don't know if anyone here has ever played Uno Attack.
Yeah,
but it's the little machine that spits out that spat out the cards. If you ever play Uno Attack, Uno Attack is a variation on Uno where it's got this little machine that will actually dispense the card that like if you have to draw and it will actually dispense it out. And you never know when you hit the button to get a card, if it will just give you one card or if it'll give you like 5.
Yeah. I look, but all of the father's technology and machines only lasted for a week and then it just goes into malfunctioning.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, I also like the egg cracker thing. That's a chicken.
Okay, the egg thing actually looks like it would work, but it's clearly a little too high strung. That's its problem.
Yeah. And let's not forget the orange drink machine.
Yeah.
You just put an orange in there and it makes orange juice.
Yeah.
But instead it's just sprays everywhere.
Okay, but some of them I do look at them and I'm like, wait a minute, how is this supposed to work? Like the spinning fly swatter? Like what? What is that?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, what is this?
How is it? It's like supposed to like spin around and hit multiple flies. I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, that you could have used that. I was really like, if some people use it to maybe slap people in the face. Like
I don't know because I think most of the flies are just going to be like, why do you keep smacking me around? What?
Right. I mean, multiple flies and everything, maybe, but yeah, that's.
So some of them are just goofy. It make no sense.
Yeah, and that coffee machine, and then it makes coffee when you press out, and then it suddenly makes this black gooey
blood.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
No, I feel his inventions would, if he got more money from someone who could back him up, and it would be, sufficient. But no, he's inventing these things, so it's it's not something exactly that's going to fulfill if it's just him making the machines himself. I mean, look at the smokeless ashtray. I mean, it could work, but it's like it still makes smoke when you use it. So it's like I don't know.
And unless like I'll never forget that one line that he said about Gizmo and the other Mogwai. I mean, you say they may replace the family dog the dog as a family pet.
Yeah,
and
yeah. He suddenly thinks, "Oh, I can make money off the Gremlins. This will be great."
And so we already talked about the dad. I mean, like, let's talk about Gizmo itself.
Oh, that cute little fucker.
Yeah, and I know we know he's voiced by
Howie Mandel.
Mandel.
yeah. They,
Right.
yeah,
He does amazing voice at Gizmo. Gizmo. Oh, Billy.
I want to know how he magically makes a Barbie dream car work.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
isn't there a Funko Pop of that? Like you get a little Funko Pop gizmo and you can put it in the
Yeah,
car. And
there is. Mhm.
But
Yeah,
that little goober, I see why Spielberg is like, nah, you can't turn him into one of the bad guys. Nah, dude.
yeah. And I
Nah, people are gonna love Gizmo. We are going to market Gizmo so much. All the kids are gonna want the plushies.
and I want to tell you guys this, and sorry I had to mute you, Nathan, but I want to tell you guys this. I mean, like, yeah, and we all know that Gizmo is an animatronic, but when there, you didn't know there are actually two animatronics. So like one is like a little size, and the other for some close-ups of his face was actually a size puppet.
Oh, okay, that actually makes sense. That
Yeah.
explains why it's so expressive.
Yeah. More
Yep, and I mean, I noticed, but they also added different facial expressions of Gizmo. Like every time they do the next shot, they peel Gizmo's face and then glued another face on there.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is. I remember when I was a kid, I was watching the making of Gremlins and Gremlins 2. For a moment, I thought Gizmo looks so realistic. I mean, he looks so
does.
real. It looks like a real animal. Like,
Let's be honest. I think all of us would love to have a Gizmo in our life, but I don't think we want the responsibility of
Ability,
dealing with
right.
Mogwai. Which at some point we need to talk about the rules for the Mogwai because I have questions.
I was thinking
Yes.
the same thing. Can I go first, Nathan? I mean,
No.
No. I'm saying like I do want to talk about it, but we don't have to talk about it now. We can keep talking about Gizmo.
yeah, I mean, and let me see you guys this. I mean, you know, when they're filming shots of Gizmo, I mean, I mean, Gizmo was animatronic, but he used control with joysticks. They used the same technology they used for Chucky in the film series, films and the TV series.
Makes sense.
Yep, the same technology. They use joysticks and then use some buttons to create them, open the mouth.
Facial expressions.
Yeah, and the crew and the designer who made the Gizmo animatronic, they all hated Gizmo because it's the animatronic. I mean, because it was difficult for them. I mean, for them to control, and Gizmo keeps getting broke. And I remember, especially when they filming Zach Galligan with Gizmo in his backpack, they actually use all the cable wires to go through Zach Galligan's clothes and made a hole in his shoe to go have the wires go through, which is more difficult and more uncomfortable for Zach to do.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
that was the days, though. That was the technology of them days to do that.
Yeah, I just think they don't. I will say I love Gizmo, but I blame him for the existence of Furby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll get to that later. I mean,
and let's not forget the funny little weirdo creature thing from Rebirth of Mothra 2.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And let me tell you this if you don't notice, but one time there was a scene they were supposed to film, but it got delayed, and it's because Gizmo was broke because the Barney the dog actually bit the animatronic. He thought it's a real creature. He bit it, and then it makes the creature broke, so it caused it a delay.
Hello, friend. I want to play.
Yep.
Oh, you are not alive. You are now my new favorite chew toy.
I also love this cute moment. Oh, where's Walter?
Mm. No, I'll be back. I don't know. No, it's such experiencing technical difficulties as the thing goes. There it goes.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, what was it? Oh yeah, I also love that one cute part when the Barney was discovered looking at Gizmo, and then when Billy was holding Gizmo like this, and then Barney just went up to lick Gizmo's ear, and I like the way how Gizmo turns his head towards Barney, and then it's just a little cute moment. Barney
Yeah.
licked Gizmo's ear for a little, and then he turns.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the poor dog is just better be glad he didn't get replaced.
True.
Yeah.
Because remember what the dad says, like, we can, pedal to pets,
Yeah, it'll
dogs.
replace the family dog. It's like,
Yeah. And yeah, like I say, Barney's like, what? Reaction.
And he did torture the wicked Mrs. Deagle.
Oh
my
That
God, she was giving me so many Wizard of Oz vibes. Remember the nasty neighbor lady who became the Wicked Witch in Oz, because that's what they did. They had the actors from the Kansas section become the characters in Oz, and she was the Wicked Witch. I'm like,
Mrs. Deagle, I mean, she's kind of like a cross between the Wicked Witch and Ebenezer Scrooge.
yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, she didn't get 3 spirits.
Yeah,
but the weird thing about her, and this is, I don't know if you guys noticed this. She seems like she was officially the first Karen, because how many cats did she have in her house? I mean, I didn't think about it until I didn't think about it until I rewatched. It's like, man, she's got a lot of cats in here, and it's like, oh my goodness.
She was the original crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw this scene of all the cats that she has. I was like, no wonder she wants to get she wants to get revenge on Barney the dog, because that explains why, because the dog was chasing one of her cats.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
I mean, he can't help it. He's a dog, he's got to chase the cat.
Yeah. I used to have a dog and a cat.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Well, they got used to each other after we bought my first dog years ago. And yeah, my cat doesn't get along with him.
Oh.
Yeah, and yeah, but my girlfriend has 2 cats.
She seems like a cat person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, one of her cats are very nice.
Okay, very friendly.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I am more of a cat person. I just love cats. I just like to hear them purr, and then I remember my cat used to cuddle up with me.
Okay.
And speaking of that one cat that she picked up, and that white and with some brown spots on it around it, I mean, that's kind of like reminds me of my cat. That's what my cat was. Yep.
I mean, how long ago not to get too personal, but how long ago did you have that cat?
I think it was from 2002 to 2012.
Okay.
Or was it 2003 to 2012? Yeah. I had my cat for 9 years, and
oh wow,
like I said, cat has 9 lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's got coincidental there, right there. See.
Yeah, I miss having a cat. Maybe I could wish for a cat for Christmas.
I know.
But I have a dog right now, and yeah, my dog will go crazy. Yeah, like, I'll catch the beast myself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, she was really when she emoted that, I was just like, wow, she's really meaning it's like, I want your dog.
Yeah, that she wants the dog dead. It's like crazy. She wants to take down the dog.
I mean, that's like she say she don't want money. She wants the. I'm like, okay, this woman really is that. Yeah, that Karen or cat lady that became what was known as future cat ladies. You know, she was the catalyst to all these ones now.
And then I like a Barney was like, eh. And then
Yeah.
she went after her in the bank, and it's just bite her arm. It's like,
Yeah, but that was not a good move, Barney.
No.
yeah.
Bad move. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought she wanted to turn that dog into a coat, but someone already tried that.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, 101 Dalmatian, Corella DeVille. She's kind of like that. I mean,
kind of, yeah.
You could tell she's like wearing a fur coat in the bank scene.
That is true.
Yeah, she's kind of like Corella DeVille. Yeah, and yeah, I also love how so the Gremlins doing Christmas caroling. Yeah.
I hate Christmas carolers.
Yeah. And she thought it was, and she kind of thought it was when she said she's not ready. She thought it was her end is coming, and then when she pressed the remote of her stair chairs, the Gremlin just mess with it, and it kind of makes the chair go. It goes like
supersonic almost.
Yeah, all the way up to the stairs, and she was screaming. And I died laughing so hard at that scene. And especially the picture frame of this guy is like smiling and look that when she drove past it, and it's almost like that picture frame was looking at it saying so long, and they actually launch out the window. It's like
clean shot. But you know, yeah. I'm thinking y'all noticed this too. This is what makes this film kind of funny, especially that moment there when she's, like I say, like rocking fast up the stairs. You notice they put in some old Looney Tunes sound effects in there, just to kind of corny it up a little bit, camp it up a little bit. I feel like that was so hilarious. I was like, here it goes. It's like.
And then the cops see it and they're like, you know what? Let's go back to the station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, well, wait, what about the guy who was getting attacked by the guy dressed like Santa Claus who's getting attacked by the
Yeah, I was gonna say that the cops, like, I mean, first of all, they don't believe Billy at first. I mean, and then when they went out, the cops, they just do nothing. And when they saw the guys dressed as Santa Claus being attacked by gremlins, and I like what they say, like the guy was stuff is all over him.
Yeah, which that actually reminded me of the original Blob, because the cops don't believe anybody who comes to them and says like, "There's a monster! There's a monster!" It's like, oh yeah, there really is. And then
they just don't.
They paid the price later.
They just do nothing. I mean, I like that when they roll up the window, it's like the gremlin is holding the guy's head. It was like, Franklin, please.
Yeah.
They're so afraid, but they're so in disbelief. There's like, this can't be real. This can't be real. It's like, well, they're sitting there right out there. Maybe you want to just like go now. And at the time, one of the gremlins cuts their brake line. It's like, well, he's waited too long, and there you go.
Yeah, that part makes me think of that from the original Jumanji. It's like hit the brakes. Oh yeah, the brakes. Yeah, and
honestly, that's a good thing right there. You mentioned Jumanji. I mean, Jumanji is a very kind of gremlin-esque kind of film, because even though it's not gremlins, it's wild, animals attacking the town and messing it up. It's like it would be kind of a thing to kind of talk about, because it's like you play the game, but you got to play it through just to end it. It's weird, and those little things in there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the bar scene. Yeah, I mean, I know it was a nightmare for Joe Dante to film, but it's because it took, like I said, it took them like 2.5 weeks to film this this scene. I mean, because of all the puppets.
Yeah.
I mean, in the early drafts, I mean, they did some test shots of the Gremlins walking, but unfortunately, the technology was so bad. I mean, they did film some shots of the Gremlins walking. I mean, they.
Yeah, there's like one shot where these two gremlins, it was just two of them, just they're kind of dancing, just the body just dancing along, It's like I thought that was pretty good, considering, but I mean, I feel two would have been, or more than that would have been too overboard because, as you say, literally you have like maybe 5 people to a gremlin, literally, just about, So just doing that one shot was like maybe 10 people or maybe 12, just getting the coordination right. And remember this, they're on a raised set to be doing that, so they have to be underneath just to get the puppetry right to do that kind of stuff, So yeah, I can imagine it'd be a nightmare, but if they pulled it off just right, I feel that they did a good job. But yeah, I feel if they went more than that, it's like, no, that would have been too much,
Yeah, and I know, like, I looked at how the one gremlin was drinking the whole bottle of beer. It's like, and it just falls back. I mean, and I know, you do know that beer was wet. And I was like, when does a gremlin ever get wet? I mean, we all know water is. I mean,
yeah. Okay. Well, when we talk about the rules of Mogwai,
yeah,
I have questions, but no, let's keep talking about this. I think maybe this just shows the kind of sense of humor I have, but actually, there is something of plot significance that happens in here. Otherwise, it's just look how deranged these things are and look how cool our effects are. But there's the part where Stripe just magically has a gun and he just shoots another gremlin.
Yeah.
I found that weirdly funny. Just like, I have a gun, bang. What? Like,
that's right. I could just materialize it.
I was like, why are you shooting him?
Yeah, and I just noticed, I mean, you all know gremlins get wet from water. I mean, they multiply. I mean, there's this one thing I noticed. I mean, I know the beer is wet. I mean, we know the one scene after Stripe escapes from the house, and then when Billy and Gizmo went to find him, they found his footprints on snow. You do know that snow is actually made of water.
See, you are thinking along the same lines as me. Do we want to talk about the rules now, or keep talking about the bar scene?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the 3 rules, and I get it. These are this is classic. Okay. Classic 80s movie. Everyone knows what the rules of the Mogwai are. Okay. So that you get 3. It's what is it? Don't get them wet.
Mm-hmm. Don't expose them to bright lights.
Keep them out of bright light.
Yeah.
And don't feed them after midnight.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay. I have questions. I'm not so much.
I have the same thing too.
I'm not so much worried about the sunlight thing. The sunlight thing, I get it. Okay, sunlight thing makes sense. It's the vampire thing. I don't have to worry about it too much.
Like when
the other 2, I have questions. So, does it have to be specifically water? Because, yes, as you were pointing out, they drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
So beer doesn't do the same thing, even though there's water in the beer, I would think, but it's also a liquid, so they're getting wet. So does it have to be specifically water? And then this takes place in winter. They are surrounded by snow. You know what snow is? Frozen water.
Yeah.
So, like, if I throw them, if I took a gremlin and I threw him into a freezer, does he just have to go grab a little bit of the ice and like rub it on himself to get at least a little bit of water, and then there's going to be more of him? Also, what's the point of the pupil stage other than cool effects? And obviously, I get it. It makes sense. Like, you go from cute little Gizmo to the grotesque, deranged adults. But the adult gremlins can get water put on them, and then they just spawn other adult gremlins instead of more little Gizmos. but little gizmos will spawn other little gizmos. I'm a little confused about that one, but so we got all of that weirdness. It's like does it have to be specifically water, not ice, not something with water in it or whatever? So does that mean if I can, does that mean I can drown a gremlin in Kool-Aid and not have to worry? Can I do that? What happens? Okay. At the risk of getting a little bit gross, what happens if a gremlin pees on itself? I'm just.
Oh my god!
Wow, Steve, my goodness.
I have questions. What happens if they meet some drunk idiot who's like, ugh, I was just supposed to drink his ketchup with me, so I could just pee right here, and then and there's a gremlin there. Is he gonna start spawning? What happens if you spit? What happens if you spit on a gremlin? Because that kind of happens too.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. What happens if you accidentally bleed on a gremlin? I mean, there's so many questions, but apparently it has to be specifically water and not something with water in it. But then you have the don't feed them after midnight thing.
I was going to say that same thing. I mean, when is the perfect timing to feed them?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Midnight?
So don't feed them after midnight, but how long after midnight are you not to feed them?
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. What about time zones or?
Yeah, time zones. What
happens? Or daylight
is it only midnight local?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Because remember, New Batch they actually bring this up in a scene in the New Batch. Say, what about daylight savings time? What about the time zones and everything? I mean, like what we're saying right now, this was something they brought up. It's like, well, that doesn't kind of compute. I mean, it's like, well,
I haven't seen Gremlins 2 in forever.
Oh, yeah,
but they bring this up forever. I've seen it. It's just been a hot minute, but I hadn't seen this one in a while either. But yeah, I'm just like, wait, time zones and daylight savings time. And how long after midnight? Is it now? I wish they could have fixed if they just said don't feed them between midnight and dawn.
Right.
Sun comes up. It's okay. You can feed them again. Give them breakfast. So but here's the thing. This is not the kind of movie where you're supposed to ask these questions. It's meant to be like a fairy tale. And it operates on a bit of fairy tale logic with that. That's why it starts with an old grandfather who's got the magical creature in a cage and somebody comes along and buys the creature, so you take it on those terms. And I think if you do that, it's a fun little movie. Gremlins 2 clearly wanted to just be ridiculous and parody itself.
Yeah, and
that was the whole point of Gremlins 2, was it was making fun of itself and being super meta and having loads of celebrity cameos and things like that. And honestly, I don't think Gremlins 2 is quite as good because I think they just went a little too nuts with it.
They went overboard, yes.
I think they went over. I think it was Joe Dante indulging himself a little much, but yeah. So ignore. So yeah, I have a bunch of questions, but you know what? It's okay.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the deleted scene. This one deleted scene at the bank scene after Kate explains about for Christmas past. I mean, there's one deleted scene when they found. I think it was the boss. It was supposed to be the third lead for this film, but Dante decided to use two leads of Billy and Kate. The one who was asking Kate, I was saying like, "Hey, Kate, you haven't seen my new apartment." What
a skeezy dude.
Right?
Yeah, there was one scene.
I'm trying to remember his name because I swear I've seen him in other stuff.
We all know he's in Fast Time, and
what is it? What's the character's name again?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what his character is. I get his character's name.
Oh, it's Judge Reinhold. That's Judge Reinhold.
But I don't know
he was in Fast Times. He was in Stripes, Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, and he was in the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
and yeah, he was in this one delete scene. He locked himself in a vault in the bank, and he after Billy Kay found him in it, is he was hiding from the Gremlins. I mean, this is a weird scene of him. I think he's losing his mind. He's went crazy. And he's like, tell him he doesn't want to get out. I mean, he's just. But I think I haven't seen that deleted scene yet. I mean, I think I remember they Kate and Billy just leave him in there, and I think that's how I remember. But
I didn't know there was a deleted scene in that.
yeah, but the and wow, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, we've been
Let's talk about the movie theater scene.
Okay.
I just
oh my gosh,
the movie theater scene. Like,
I hope is up the
Okay.
rock.
I want to know what. So I was trying to see if I could find out how they managed to pull that off. I was like, I want to know what voodoo that Joe Dante was able to do to get the license for a Disney movie for a Warner Brothers movie.
yeah.
Like he had to have paid through the nose to get that.
Had to.
Because
Yes.
Disney doesn't play well unless you throw a ton of money at it.
Well, remember this now. Remember when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out late a few years later. They had a bunch of Looney Tune Warner Brothers characters in a Disney film. So
And
I wonder how that played out.
yeah,
so who
and
knows?
Well, that
And
was basically that was a
and Woody
co-production.
Woodpecker from Universal Studios.
Yeah, well, but that was a co-production, so I'm not
Okay.
surprised by that one. But still, like, how did they get this? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I don't
don't
know
know
what
how.
magic they did, but they did. I'm sure they just threw a bunch of money at Disney. Half the budget went to licensing that thing.
Well, I'm assuming that since Spielberg was the co-producer on this, he probably had some pull because remember the film 1941, he had in that movie theater sequence Dumbo, which was
This is
I
true.
figured maybe he had some pull with that, I mean, because you gotta remember,
I could see that. I could see he just goes up to Disney and says, "Hi, I'm Steven Spielberg. License Snow White for me, please." They're like, "Yes, Mr. Spielberg."
And I'm gonna say 1941 film. It was also made by Universal and Columbia Pictures.
Yeah. By the way, I was speaking about the budget. Like, how much did it cost to make this movie?
Like 11
You want to
million.
talk about turning a profit? This thing cost $11 million to make it. It made $212 million at the box office.
Yeah.
I think that's a blockbuster. I think that's a hit. I think we succeeded there.
And also I noticed. I mean, there was a few references in this film that used it from "It's a Wonderful Life," like it was shown on the little TV when the mom's cooking. And
because Joe Dante loves classic movies.
Yeah. Also, my stepdad loves "It's a Wonderful Life."
Oh, it's a fantastic movie. Yeah. And then, but with the other movie that was shown that was even more pertinent to this movie.
What?
Do you remember the other movie that was being shown? If you haven't seen it, you should.
Oh, it's where the scene where Gizmo is watching, and or was it like where it has some I think they're watching a film about sea pods, or
yes.
Oh yes, that's. I don't know why I'm thinking.
Yes, that's a very iconic sci-fi movie from the 50s. It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah,
I couldn't think.
Yeah, it's like they're coming out of pods, and when that's when you see the other gremlins, the other mogwai are popping out of their like alien looking eggs,
Yeah,
and surprised they weren't face huggers. but it's also the part right before the gremlins start rampaging through the house, and they have the close up of the one guy who says, "They're here already. You're next." That's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a fantastic movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And if for some odd reason it gets remade about every 20 years.
Yeah.
Someone gets it in their head to remake it. It's been remade 3 times. Yeah, but I want to see the 70s version because it has Leonard Nimoy in it. The other two,
Mr. Spock,
not in a big rush. Yeah.
Well, here's a question. I want to just bring this up real quick. Do you know there's a title of a movie on the front of the movie theater called The Boy's Life? Do you know what that original? That's a little Easter egg. That's the original title for a Spielberg film. I don't know if you guys know this.
Oh, E.T.
There you go. See?
Wow.
I just took a
I did
wild
not know
guess.
that.
That's it. Yeah, that was the original title for E.T.
Wow.
E.T. the extraterrestrial makes way more sense.
True.
Yeah, and I also mentioned it. I also love the part in the theater when the gremlins singing along to the I host thing, and I found that hilarious. And then the new live action Snow White movie is gonna come out in a few months next year in March. I mean, I was planning to go see it with my girlfriend when it comes out. I mean, when I go see the live action Snow White, I was thinking about what if I bring like a little puppet gremlin with me, and then
I just want the gremlins to crash every screening of that movie. I want them to sit there and be like, Snow White, Snow White, Snow White. And then they start watching the movie. It's like, and they just throw
It's like, we stare to the screen and everything. Yes.
And then,
yeah, I gotta say
like they just get angry, and then some of them find go and find Rachel Zegler, like,
yeah, when they like when Kate and Billy are running away, behind the screen was the gremlin shadows. I mean, they look like animation.
They do. That was an amazing shot, by the way. Like that was so good. And then they start coming through the screen and all that. If I'm just imagining the gremlins would see the new one and they look at us like, we look like better dwarves than the dwarves. See, I would have seen that movie. It's Snow White and the 7 Gremlins. Sign me up.
Oh, that'd be neat.
And I like the part when the theater exploded. I mean, like, how does Billy do that? I mean,
gas main.
He got gas main.
That would cost like.
Yep. And Stripe got saved by his sweet tooth.
That's it.
Milk duds.
And then he invades a candy store.
Yeah. Yeah, that came to the most final battle between Billy and Stripe, and I also love the chainsaw battle with the baseball bats.
That was harrowing.
That was actually Zach Galligan's idea.
The chainsaw.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Zach Galligan came up with that idea. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, he came up with that idea because when he was in the store, he saw a chainsaw. It was like, and a baseball bat, saying to the director, saying, well, would it be a good idea to have like a chainsaw and baseball bat battle? And Joe Dante says, yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then so they did.
Okay.
Yeah. Bat versus chainsaw. But then Stripe's not smart enough to just let go of the chainsaw.
Yeah. I mean, he gets flooded by the light. He
gets dragged along all this time, and then it finally stops, and then he actually lets go. It's like, dude, you could have done that 15 seconds ago before you got dragged away.
I was like, come on, man. Oh my goodness.
I must hold on to this chainsaw.
I mean, you've been smart all this time, escaping the explosion and everything, and then it's like once you get hit by light, it's like you can't let go of a chainsaw. Like, let go of it, But
And also, I love the special effects of the melting scene
Oh
when the sun was
yeah,
shining on
he
Stripe.
gets the vampire treatment, and he
yes,
melts. And then
that's
he
a
still
bullet.
has the audacity to pop out of the water like as a skeleton. It's like,
Yeah,
you
and then he
little
melt.
jerk. Can you just die, please?
Yeah, he melted in this plant garden scene. I mean, that's when they show this puddle of the with some plants around. That kind of makes me think of that one scene from Frosty the Snowman by Rankin Bass. That
Yeah.
sort of remind me of that. It's sort of like that scene.
Okay, I can see
Lizard
So they
that.
show
Bro.
like a little puddle and
Yeah, Lizard Pro, you are the only one who would connect Gremlins to Frosty the freaking Snowman.
Look, look. Think about that though. There's so many connections you can connect up to certain things, and until someone points that out, I could actually see that for some reason.
yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean,
That is
Yeah.
weird, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, yes, this movie came out in June, but you know what? If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, this is a Christmas movie. I will argue with anybody about that.
And you know
yeah,
what the
I
weird
don't know
thing is?
why people insist on releasing Christmas movies in the middle of the summer, but
Mhm.
hey.
I mean, even Bruce Willis has stated it's like Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Well, I'm sorry, the fans beg to differ.
I was going to
Okay.
say, I'm sorry, Mr. Willis, but you can be wrong.
Yes.
yeah, yes, and so that's all I have in mind about Gremlins. It is a classic Christmas film, if you want to call it, or
It is a Christmas movie.
yeah, and then is it. And I love that the melted effect of Stripe is. And I remember when I was a kid, I was a little scared of that scene, but I wasn't scared at
Why?
all.
Because
I
his
just
skeleton just bah!
well that part, but in the melted part, and
Well, why would you be
Well-
scared of the melting part? The bad guy's dead.
yeah, I was.
You should be
because
like, heck yes, take
well-
that, Stripe.
Well, it's because it's a skeleton melting. Stripe is melting. I was terrified of the grossness. I was only a
okay.
kid. I
Okay.
was only a kid, but I wasn't actually scared of that at all. I actually loved that effect.
It was a good effect, I mean, I think they were just trying to get another gotcha, jump scare for the audience, thinking like, okay, he's done, he's over. But it's like, it's like pop out skeleton square. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when I was a kid, I thought the Gremlins were real in real life, but they're not.
I don't know. You talk to some World War II veterans, they might disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because we
And-
had that one guy who's like, yeah, WWII, the Gremlins, they screwed up everything.
Right.
And then we
Right.
had we had Chekhov's tractor, because then the Gremlins find the tractor and they get him and the wife with the tractor.
Yeah.
Which they survive and they made it into the sequel.
Oh, they
I'm-
did? Okay. It's been a hot minute since I've seen the sequel. So do the Gremlins actually succeed in killing anyone in this movie?
Well, it was implied that the Futtermans died, but as Artistic says, it's like they came back in the sequel.
I guess it's just Miss Deagle. She's the only real casualty in this movie.
I
Yeah,
think so.
And maybe I should do it the sequel someday.
You should.
You should.
Yeah, and
It looks like you also, judging by the chat, looks like somebody's also giving you a suggestion for some future episodes.
like hey, you should check out Hellboy 1 and 2, which I never seen.
Oh, those are fantastic. You would love them.
They're pretty cool.
It's Guillermo del Toro, man. The guy who directed Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I had to say. I have to say in mind, guys. I mean, about Gremlins. I want to say to you, thank you so much for joining me for this special podcast Christmas episode.
Yeah. You're going to do a New Year's episode now?
I was gonna say, you gonna do New Year's?
I don't think there are any New Year movies out there.
Oh, there are New Year's movies. Just I don't know if you would want to cover any of them.
Now I'll just resume back where
Or
I left off.
you could just do a New Year's stream and then have people hang out and then you could do the
Yeah.
countdown like 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, bam.
Yeah,
Although it would be weird because you're in Central, which means if I was on that stream, it'd be like it's already 2025 over here, guys.
yeah,
Catch up.
Right, exactly. You're an hour behind, but we'll catch up.
yeah.
One of these days, I should actually go to the border of a time zone, and when it hits the midnight, you're like, "Watch this, guys! It's last year."
Well, I'm not sure about the New Year's stream, but I'm just gonna continue my resume some of my podcast marathon series at like Gamera and Kong.
I think I'm supposed to come on for a Gamera, aren't I?
Yeah, well, I'll check on my list. I mean, it's been a while.
I'm pretty sure I've got at least one Gamera.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but hopefully for Destroy All Planets, I'll have Carl Craig to be a guest in that one.
Well, that would be
Oh,
great.
nice. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to follow. I have his business card. I need to talk with him because he said he would love to be on my podcast. So I'm like, okay.
Well, I want to say to you guys, thank you for so much for joining me, and I know some of the other guests I invited didn't make it on here, and well, that's okay. But I'm glad to have you guys back. You guys were like my backup.
Oh, jeez.
I
wanted to have some cooler people on, but I'll settle for you guys.
don't take the. I know you're joking, but don't take offense to it. That is like I say.
I know. I'm totally.
Some of the guests didn't make it.
I'm totally joking.
Yeah,
I'm totally joking.
Yeah, and I want to
because I know I'm one of a Lizard Pro's favorite people.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. I mean, and you've always been like a big brother to me and my partner, and like I said, thanks again for joining me, and I want to say to you all a Merry Christmas, but just remember, before Christmas or before you go to bed, check out all the lights and all the furnace, and make sure to check all the kitchen cabinets, because you never can tell. There just might be a gremlin in your house.